blessing of working every day with our world's future leaders. If you're an educator, you have this same blessing. I want you to picture one of those future leaders walking down a corridor and arriving at a dead end with two doors. One is labeled love and the other door is labeled fear. Which will they choose? Seems like an easy enough question. However, I submit that too many of us are guiding our students towards that fear door unintentionally. Let me explain a bit about what I mean about fear and love. When I speak about fear, I know I need to be specific, as each one of us has something that makes us shake in our boots. The ancient Greeks used the word phobos, which meant fear or horror. We've adapted this term and come up with this huge list of fears like arachnophobia, claustrophobia, and the one that is rising in popularity during this pandemic, germophobia. Philia is a lesser known Greek word meaning great affection or love. You may know an Anglophile or a bibliophile. Occasionally, there's a solution to the problem of a phobia, which can be found in the alternate philia or affection. Master fear with love. Take, for example, xenophobia. The Greek word xenos means foreign or unknown. The fear of other cultures, other races, and other nationalities is growing in our country. The idea that if they aren't like us, they are against us is poisoning old and young minds alike. The stereotypes we create about cultures other than our own feed our ignorance and our fear. In a world which is increasingly global, many choose to stay in their own bubble, fearing those who don't share the same language, skin color, religion, you name it. This fear has turned into hate, and as a result, discrimination. We've all seen the damage this can do, dividing our nation and dividing the globe. But there is an alternative. I believe it's possible to foster a new generation of thinkers and leaders who could easily be labeled as xenophiles, those who have great affection for other cultures, nations, and people. Through affection, fear is dispersed, and real positive change is possible. Cultivating affection for others and for other cultures is not easy, but as educators, it's our responsibility. At the beginning of each year, I tell my students that the number one goal for the year is to stir in them a need to make a difference in the world. You will be world changers, I tell them. But in order to change the world, you have to know the world. Hey guys, welcome to World Cultures. It's a little dramatic, but I mean every word. In order to change the world, you have to understand and connect to the world. I'm fortunate that my current content area is focused on studying various world cultures, but I believe that the target of sharing other cultures with students should go beyond my 43-minute social studies class. We can introduce students to other cultures in every subject, and in doing so, we make our content more relevant and engaging. As we have moved to an education system that's built around standardized tests, we have missed opportunities to immerse our classrooms in diversity and give students the opportunity to see other viewpoints. We don't have to teach culture, we just have to give students an opportunity to explore it. Our kids are naturally curious, but in our classrooms, they are expected to be respectful, to do the work, and sometimes to not question what they're being taught. While teaching US history and the space race, I've used excerpts from the 1995 film Apollo 13. I love showing the scene where NASA engineers are hunkered over a table, they're trying to save the astronauts by figuring out how to get a square peg into a round hole. Afterwards, when I pose my standard question, what did you notice there? I get things like, I noticed them working together, I noticed there's no choice, and they just have to do it, and occasionally some brave soul in the back says, I noticed they all look alike. And so I prod them, what do you mean? And they say, well, they all have dorky glasses, they all have the same tie, they all have the same haircut, and then finally someone is brave enough to say, they're all white men. That leads to a discussion about what our history books and Hollywood leaves out of the picture and why that happens. It opens up the opportunity for me to talk about Katherine Johnson and other Black men and women of NASA whose stories are not necessarily included in the textbook. These opportunities exist in every classroom. I recently partnered with an English teacher on campus to plan a cultural book study. Thankfully, we now have more cultural stories to choose from. Our books were centered on characters from Pakistan, India, Sudan, Ethiopia, Cambodia, Gaza. Some told the stories of life in another culture. Others focused on the strange culture that people endure as they become a refugee. My favorite comment from my students this year, something like, "I would never have chosen this book for me. I wouldn't have chosen it for myself, but it was a powerful book. It was the most important book I've read this year, and I just want to know more about that country." For English teachers, carefully chosen literature is a powerful tool to creating empathy and understanding of other cultures around the world, but also cultures within our own country. So check with local librarians, and they can give you access to lists of award-winning books with unique perspectives. My friends in the science community already know the power of global community. Scientists have been working together and learning from each other for centuries. Famous scientists have come from every walk of life. Sharing the successes of scientists from Brazil, Nigeria, Chile, and Kenya allow them to see that science is a universal language that everyone can speak. I know my math friends out there are wondering how they could possibly integrate culture into their lessons, but I would direct them to an extraordinary math teacher, Dan Meyer, who recently spoke to TED audiences about the need to get away from problem solving and instead give them opportunities to formulate those problems. So what if you could go to Habitat for Humanity or UNICEF or any other mission-oriented site, and you see that there are problems they're trying to solve, how to build this house, where to dig this well, and you could find ways to understand math and how it actually makes a difference in the real world and apply that math. Do you teach fine arts? Because if you do, you're really, really lucky. There's this plethora of artists and writers from around the world who can help you develop your own musicians, artists, and actors. The arts give us many opportunities to teach culture, but we have to look beyond just the notes or the words on the page and explore the context and the history of those creators. Most importantly, you aren't in this alone. You are hopefully surrounded by teachers, administrators, students, parents, and community members who bring with them so many pieces of the cultural spectrum. Reach out to your colleagues, whether they teach near you or they can be reached on a digital platform, and make those connections that you can bring back into your class. I have a dear friend who substitutes for me. She's a parent in the community. She's a certified teacher. She is Muslim, and she was forced to flee her homeland as a child. She grew up mostly in Sweden. She lived in multiple countries before finally coming to the USA. She's opened the eyes of my students with her firsthand experiences of the world. They pepper her with questions, and she showers them with information and affection. I am so thankful for her influence in my classroom. We can draw closer to creating empathy and affection for other cultures when we give our students an opportunity to connect and discuss as many narratives as possible. My point is, we spend our days with those who hold the future. We have a chance to instill a passion in them for our world and all its diversity, or we can focus on the facts and the figures our textbooks give us and hope that someone at home is teaching them about the world. If we do so, there's a chance that xenophobia and the fear of those not like us will permeate this new generation, and our world will go on down this path of division and fear. We are given the opportunity to inspire those who will change the world. But you have to know the world and love the world to make the world a better place. Thank you.